Hello, I'm Dmitry Gorsky, CTO of Heavelock Solutions. Welcome to a new webinar. We continue with case studies, and today we are going to hear from Knut Hals with Norse Shell, and he's going to tell us about installation of completions on Knarr field, an infill well in Knarr field, where Knut and his team used simulations of dynamic rig heave to help reduce weighting and weather and manage the risks related to surge and swab.
Hi, I'm Knut Hals, Completion and Well Intervention Team Lead for Norse Shell, and was responsible for the Knarr A3H infill well we drilled and completed in 2020. As you can see on the left-hand side, it was a typical J-type trajectory well. Knarr field was depleted, and we were drilling and completing the well in tight pressure margins. The drilling unit to be used was Borgland Dolphin, semi-sub, and enhanced Aker H3 rig. The well operations from completion side was running a lower completion and an upper completion. Commencement window for the operations were March, hence we were going to do winter completions. And based on that, concern for swab and surge was flagged high in the risk register. Based on this, accurate weather criteria was required to de-risk the operations and optimize the uptime of the operations to reduce MPT, weight and weather, and hence costs. The low completion to be run was going to be run with a screen hanger packer, standalone screens, Swab packer, and a glass plug, and it was going to be run closed end. The risks identified was breach of fracking formation pressure, which again can lead to losses or a kick, or ultimately well damage, which again will lead to production impact. Swabbing the screen hanger packer elements is also identified risks, which again could lead to getting stuck with the completion string on the way in, and we have to pull in the completion, which again will lead to excessive MPT and hence costs. For upper completion, the similar main risk was to getting stuck by swabbing the production packer elements, and again pulling the completion and MPT. To mitigate these swab and surge risks, we were looking into identifying robust weather criteria for the operations. Ultimately, weather criteria is identifying the weather window, which was 30 hours for the lower completion, and the rig heave criteria during those operations. We were looking into the various vendors and the rig operator and best practices we could find in the industry, and typically what we always end up with was 2.5 meter limitation for the lower completion and 2 meter for the upper completion. This is not based on any actual well conditions. So we were thinking to be more confident in the criteria we were set up to do. We wanted to do some simulations with the actual data put in. So we did some conventional software simulations. We're using legacy software, and we came into about 1.8 meter limitations on the lower completion operations, which is much lower than the industry best practice and also lower than what we are commonly used to. And our subjective assessment was that this is way too conservative, and hence we are looking into other simulation tools, and we had some initial meetings with Heavelock, and in the meeting they convinced us that tailor-fit swab and surge simulations is the way to go, where we take into account the actual rig to be used, the actual rig movements, ROI, and actual weather conditions at the time of location, and also the actual completion components, well fluids, well trajectory, all that stuff. So it was decided on short notice that we were going to do these simulations, and we initiated a project and gave Heavelock all the data they required, and within a week. They came back with a detailed report and set up some sessions where we went through the final results. And we ended up with a tailor-fit simulation showing that we could do safe rig operations with up to 2.7 meters heave criteria. So these tailor-fit submerged simulations gave the well operations team the confidence that we were set up to do operations in a safe manner, and also that we were set up to have a minimum MPT and waiting on weather. For other reasons, the completion operations slipped to May, so we did not perform the completions in winter conditions. But nevertheless, retrospect simulation showed that taking into account the actual weather we had and the fact that we increased our criteria with almost 1 meter, saved us for about 24 hours waiting on weather on only the lower completion, which again paid back the Heavelock simulations many times. The experience for the project from the wells team with using these tailor-fit simulations show that this is a best practice we would like to do in the future as well. And we are already looking into deep water operations on Ormalange in 2022, where we're going to do gravapack, we're going to do unload to rig with subsea test tree, and this work is now moving on. Thank you for listening.
Big thanks to Knut for sharing his thoughts on searching Swab during running completion and how to manage it in best way. Shell is a huge international energy company, and Shell, Norway and UK has a very knowledgeable and very agile drilling and wells team, and of course we are extremely proud to be called a best practice, and we look forward to working with them on Ormalange and beyond, contributing to less waiting on weather and safer drilling and well operations. Thank you.